Today I fucked up by getting Ancestry.com for my very German father. My dad is really big into history, so we got him an Ancestry.com profile or whatever for his birthday. As far as we knew, he is 100% German. Our last name is extremely German sounding, but extremely unique. I have never heard it before anywhere else, and Google shows it didn't show up anywhere in records until the 1940s, mostly in the US and a little in Germany. We follow the little tree and get to his grandma's sister, who my dad says he barely knew and never talked to. Her last name was Winkelmann. He vaguely remembers his mother hating that last name and hating that her aunt kept it. He assumed that, due to the name, maybe she was a little bit anti-Semitic. Winkelmann is a very Jewish sounding name. My dad gets a little excited at this because he's a big World War II buff, and now we have traced our ancestry back to Germany around World War II with probably Jewish relatives. He's thinking maybe they changed their name and moved to the US to escape the Nazis. Maybe some died and we could trace them to death records in concentration camps. This sounds kinda horrible, I know, but it's history, and having family in the middle of that is kinda cool. Anyways, our records get fuzzy. Before World War II we see our last name disappear into more and more Winkelmanns, until we find the crown jewel. Adolf Winkelmann, physician in a concentration camp, and without a doubt a big fucking Nazi. There aren't a lot of available records on him. I'm guessing a lot are in German or maybe even classified, but basically he was put on trial for war crimes and then died in 1947. I don't know if they killed him, he just died, or if the bastard killed himself. You can even see the family resemblance in the fat little fucker. Edit, spelling, and also realizing I never added that. No, nobody in my family is a Nazi or anti-Semitism now. We all have blue eyes though. Update, since apparently I've offended people. Yes, I think learning that my ancestors were Jewish would have been cool. Obviously I would much rather that nobody died in concentration camps. I would rather nobody died a horrible death pretty much ever, least of all due to their religion or minority status. Learning you had family who played any major role in history is cool. Them having to live in or die in a concentration camp would be very not cool, but just learning my family's history and being able to trace it through events is undeniable cool. I would have been happier to have found out my ancestors were Jewish and peacefully escaped Germany and restarted their life in the US. Instead I get to have Nazi blood. It is what it is, I guess. Mini too long didn't read. Anti-Semitism not cool, history cool. Too long didn't read. I wanted my dad to maybe find a long lost relative or a cool relative, so I got him Ancestry.com, but instead I uncovered a successfully buried family secret that my great-great-grandpa, or something like that, was a doctor in a concentration camp convicted of war crimes so terrible they probably sentenced him to death. Now my poor dad gets to live with the undeniable fact his dead mom lied when she said our ancestors moved to America to fight the Nazis. Well, the family story was true. They did leave to escape the Nazis. Just their own ties. No wonder your grandma was pissed her sister kept the name. Oof, thought I screwed up when I got mine done and forgot my dad was super proud of being German when I broke the news we're much more Welsh. There are always going to be things in the past in our families we cannot control. We weren't there. We can't change it. As long as we are better people, that's what counts. Well, I am not a Nazi and highly doubt I'll ever commit a war crime, so I am saying I cleared that ridiculously low hurdle. I had a look at the German version of Wikipedia and he indeed has his own page there. You might want to play with the Google Translator and read it as well. But there is also another Adolf Winkelmann, a bit older gentleman from the 19th century, who could possibly be the grandfather of the grandfather. His page on Wikipedia was considerably longer and could possibly make you a bit prouder of your ancestors. German here, PM if you need help translating something. Hey, there's every chance his family did get away from him unless he moved with them. He was back in Germany when he died, and his relatives had moved to the US with a new name. It may be that they wanted nothing to do with that legacy, so you're descended from the decent side of the family. Today I fucked up by trying to Dutch oven my wife. So this happened yesterday, but still, Close enough, I say. So I wake up on the fine Sunday morning and my lovely wife snuggles into me for a cuddle. We're comfortable enough with each other that farting is not really an issue, so I let one rip. This was quite possibly the best fart I've ever done. I swear the covers lifted a fraction from the sheer force. My wife looks up with a mix of admiration and disgust at the stupid grin on my face, and inspiration strikes. I quickly grab the blanket and pull it over her head. Brilliant. Or so I thought. Acting far quicker than I ever thought possible, she manages to kidney punch me, escape from the blankets, drag them up over my head and drop the dirtiest fart I've ever smelt right in my face. As a little extra flavor, my wife is lactose intolerant, and also in denial about her lactose intolerance. The phrase "a little bit won't hurt" is her life motto, often followed by horrible bloating and gas. The previous night she had eaten a bunch of pizza and chocolate. I couldn't breathe. To add insult to injury, she then called in my two little devil-spawn daughters and told them to jump on me, causing me to gasp as two separate impacts rocked me under the bed. Needless to say, I won't be trying that stunt again for a while. TL, doctor, tried to Dutch oven my wife and she won. Edit, holy crap, this blew up. Thanks for all the love, guys. Yes, I know that my wife is amazing and I have no idea how she's put up with me for 8 years of marriage. Edit again, a lot of people have asked, so I did a bit of research. Apparently the term comes from the 17th century when the British and the Dutch fought a bunch of wars and the British started coming up with slang and insults for the Dutch. That's where stuff like double Dutch comes from too. It's derived from the Dutch oven crockpot that keeps all the smells and heat in. Reads the title. Me, someone's about to shit the bed. Live by the sword, die by the sword. I can think of worse ways to go. Not many though. I know it doesn't feel or smell like it at the moment, but you're totally winning at life right now. Cherish it. Thanks, man. That hit me right in the feels. The family that plays together stays together. I always seem to be on the losing team though. Smiley face. I'm also in denial about being lactose intolerant, and this is hilarious cause few boy day nasty. Edit, thank you for my first ever award, crying face, heart. I just woke up and I'm loving this thread so much. Today I fucked up by hitting on a GD minor. This happened yesterday and this is a throwaway account. I saw a young woman on the train whom I thought was cute. I don't know how to safely approach people with the COVID situation and I was getting off at the next stop, so I made a note telling her I thought she was cute with my number and airdropped it to the name that came up when she took out her phone. She looked at me and smiled, I think, harder to tell with masks, and texted me as I was walking through the station saying that she thought I was cute too. I was excited. Then she asked me how old I was and my heart sank, thinking oh no, she's 19 or 20 or something, younger than I thought. I told her my age, 29. She then revealed that she's 15. I was horrified and before I could finish my text of "I'm so sorry, I thought you were an adult, it's hard to tell with the mask, I'm going to block your number now," she said. I love her glasses toe major dilf and I just about threw up, then collected myself and gave her a little spiel about please don't say things like that to grown men, made it clear I'm not victim blaming. Most won't, but there are some who will act on that and that's a terrifying thought. Anyway, I think I handled it decently well, but that was brutal and I still feel so embarrassed. Too long didn't read. I hit on someone who turned out to be 15, she called me a dilf, and I want to melt into the ground never to be seen again. Edit, for the people saying why didn't you smash and stuff like that, even if you're joking you're part of the problem. Seriously think about what sleeping with a full-on adult at that age could do to a person and don't perpetuate or participate in that behavior. Please. Summer of 1983, I was on a flight from Atlanta to Kansas City, on the second of 3 legs to visit a friend of mine. I don't remember exactly what variety of airplane I was on, except that there were 3 seats on each side of the aisle, and I had a window seat. 2 young men were seated in the middle and aisle seats, both obviously military. They weren't in uniform, but one could tell. Haircuts, posture, Anyway, The guy sitting in the middle seat chatted with me almost the whole flight. Nothing untoward, just very pleasant chit-chat. A few minutes before the seat belt light would have come back on, he asked if I had a layover in KC. I have about an hour before I need to get to my next gate. Would I buy you a drink before your flight? Milk and cookies, maybe? I'm not quite 14. I had never seen a human turn that many shades of red or green before. He excused himself to the loo, and begged his traveling partner to scoot to the middle seat when he returned. I honestly still feel bad for the guy. He didn't know. He handled it about as well as I would expect. That's all anyone can do. I'd if mistaken for 21 plus at 13 is a good or bad thing for a woman. LOL. What matters is that you stopped flirting as soon as you knew. It can be hard telling ages. I always looked older than my age and had older men hit on me. At least you stopped when you realized it. When I worked retail years ago when I was 18-19 I had some 63-year-old for subtly flirt with me consistently and finally one day dropped the bomb of I know there's a bit of an age difference between us but I can't stop thinking about you. I feel like there's memories we could make together that we'd remember for the rest of our lives. WTF. So yeah, props to you for making a mistake, correcting it, and not being a creep. About 20 years ago my husband was at a frat party. He was hitting on a girl hard. His buddy said yo, she's 14. He noped out. FFS. What was she doing there? Her older sister who was a sorority girl let her in. I wasn't there. WTF. You married a guy who hit on kids? He didn't know. The second he did, he noped out. He thought she was at least 18. When he found out she wasn't he left. I've met so many 15-year-olds who look so much older and it has so become creepy. But then again, I have asked 37-year-old women for identification. You good man. Back in college we had a local bar that didn't do a great job on looking at IDs. It was more of a if you look old enough you're good. Once a week they did college night where you showed your student ID and you got in free. So I met this girl who I assumed was a college girl. We talked, danced some, had some drinks and it was chill. Asked her if she went to school there and she said yeah and I just assumed nothing of it. We exchanged numbers at the end of the night and went separate ways. Next day I texted her and we were just talking and I asked what her major was and she said she was a freshman in HS. She definitely did not look like a high school girl, let alone a freshman. Looks can be deceiving man. As long as you stop it immediately once you find out that age you're good. One summer party I went to I saw my buddy making out with an attractive female who I thought to be maybe 19 to 20. I just thought good for him and carried on. She had been drinking and I saw her take a few puffs from a joint, and didn't really think anything of it until someone who showed up knew this female and made a scene. Apparently the girl my buddy made out with had just finished grade 9, was about to start grade 10, and was just quite tall for her age. The person making a scene was her older sister, who had found out where the 10th grader was and came to round her up. Got to be careful out there making out with random strangers.